Craig, we're going to put the groups back up again, and we're just going to ask you to.
But I mean, we're talking about sub-licensing to TV networks here. We're not talking about sub-licensing a World Cup, right? I mean,
oh, you could.
Well, it is a club World Cup.
No, I'm talking about a World Cup. This is plastic compared to. I don't want to go too much into it, but what gets you? What's going to get people really excited here? You know, I mean, okay, the people who come and watch in this country, I understand that. It's about money. We know it's about money, and some of these teams do need the money more than others, so it will be a benefit to them. But what are we looking at here that's going to go? You know, we're already looking at this 36-team Champions League, and there are some good games, but there's a lot of uninteresting games very early on. And I think we're kind of overload here. We're flooding the amount of teams that are going in here, particularly some of the weaker sides. It's not the elite. It is not the elite. So, you know, some of the guys talked about success. It could be a success. How do we define success? What's a success if a player is getting no rest or very little rest for the elite level domestic competitions? The timing of this is an issue. We already have the players from different countries. We already have FIFPro, you know, mooting possible strikes, and the PFA in England, and trying to figure out how it could work. And it's very convoluted, but we're having these conversations because there is already an overload of games. And so this is kind of, it's tone deaf. It's a little bit tone deaf. Now, I get it. It's going to happen. We have to wait and see. But there's not a lot in there. And when it gets to the knockout and most of these other teams have gone, there'll be some big head-to-heads, and that might get a few more people excited. My issue as a former player is you need to have the adequate amount of rest at the end of a season. And we always understand you don't get that when there's a Copa America. You don't get that at times during the season when there's an African Cup of Nations. You don't get it when there's a Euros. You don't get it when there's a World Cup. You buy into being a professional footballer knowing that's the case. You didn't buy in knowing that in between those competitions, there's going to be some fluffed up FIFA competition that's going to take a month at a time when the players should be resting. So I'll give it its due. There's going to be some good games. My issue is purely with the overload of games and the tone deafness due to money, and we all know that's why this competition is happening. Player welfare, and I know it's elite level, the 1% or whatever you want to call it, doesn't matter. That's who most people pay to watch. They pay to watch the superstars. And when you're diluting the superstars, and Alex talked about Real Madrid, and there's others, we have seen the injuries. We see the injuries after World Cups. And that's a difficult scenario for coaches and for clubs to take players along to this and play their best players, particularly with the problems we're seeing domestically in domestic leagues at the moment with players having ACLs and injuries and hamstrings. It's a very difficult sell, I think.